that you would have those who would sing his praise and those detractors who would also try to do their smear campaign and all that. If that did not happen, then he would have ceased to be a human being, because we are not perfect in the first place. And so all the 10 cardinal sins and all other things that are coming from the opposition should be expected, because you should not think that they would hail him in anger, either in frustration, which did not sit well with people. They are now going to unearth them and, if I say, start throwing dust at him. I think I read something where Mr. Thompson of ASEPA had said that, oh, leave him to us. In 48 hours, we'll just destroy him. Right? I don't know if that destruction has come, because it appears 48 hours have already lapsed.
Isn't it interesting that another human being thinks he can destroy another human being?
Now, but you see, the way our politics are not so much issues based, and sometimes it is just about personality. Of course, the person's character is also very important when he's going to run for public office, because we are all going to aggregate our power and center it in you, so that you use that same power for our benefit. So there's the need to also look at character. We cannot run away from that. But sometimes I think it goes beyond ordinary trying to be very objective about the person's character and trying to throw dust into the eyes of the public and destroying the person just for political expediency. That is what we must guard against, because sometimes it's not healthy at all. We are human beings, and sometimes it may get into us so deeply, so badly, right? I have my own experiences where the distraction or the destructive words were not even about me, but about my poor mother, who had done nothing, right? So we should try and base our political discourse on issues rather than personality. Having said that, now let us look at NAPO. For me, I have always said that if the country is going to go forward, generally we need leaders who must become politicians. Because the business of politics is to draw policies for the people. And so you must first be a leader and then throw your hat into the ring. If you get the favor of the people, then you get into policy making. So that's the whole thing. Unfortunately, in our part of the world, the mention of the word politician draws a lot of negative connotations into the minds of people. People think that politicians are tricksters. Politicians are people who do not even tell the truth, and all that, and all that, and all that. Right? So, this is a rule of thumb for me, that we must first get leaders to become politicians. But if we get politicians to become leaders, that's where the country will be doomed. So that is my own philosophy, and that's how I put it. The country is saved if we get leaders to be politicians. The country will be doomed if we get politicians to assume the positions of leaders.
Interesting.
Yes, it is quite proverbial. I think it is quite deep, that statement. It is my own statement. Probably I should copyright it.
I think you should.
Yeah, but you see, in explaining this philosophical statement I have made, I am looking at three things. Okay? One, we serve the country with the brightest and the best. Okay? And that is what we can explain to mean competence. The person who has been nominated the person who is aspiring to assume leadership of the country or of any portion of the country, any part of the country, maybe a constituency or something like that, is he one of those whom we can say is the brightest and the best? Does he fall into that? That's one thing we must start thinking about. So that is competence. It means he can do it, right? But with what heart does he do this work? With what mindset does he do this work? Is it that he is doing that for his personal aggrandizement? Is that the place he's going to look for wealth? Or what? Right? Or he has the empathy and the desire and the zeal to actually work and get the people from the quagmire of disease, poverty, and all those negative things into a place where they will say, we have arrived. So you need these, especially these two things: the quality of the person and the heart with which he's working. Because you see, if the person is even competent, but he's a thief, you understand?
Yes.
Yes. That's what I think. And so the competence is there, and the mindset, the heart with which the person is going to work is also very fundamental, right?
Okay.
You look at a person like Lee Kuan Yew. He said he had the opportunity to be rich, but he decided to be poor so that Singapore would be rich, right? And since then, his name is written in gold. It's in the memory of every single person, even for those who did not come to meet him. They still hold him in high esteem. So, having said all this, let us look at the background of Napo. Is he one of the brightest and the best? Does he come with that competence? We can only analyze that by looking at what he has held before, what he has done before. Did he succeed? And if he did not even succeed, by what measure? To what extent? Right? So let us look at education. That was the first portfolio he was given. I think it is almost a consensus that he did well when it comes to the his management.
He led the implementation of the free SHS program.
Exactly. And that is not a small, no mean achievement, right? We admit that it has its own problems in that implementation process. Okay? If we did not even have such problems, then I'm sure we would have been superhuman. Well, this is something that was being experimented from the start, okay, on a very wide scale, the entire country, okay. But if you do the pluses and the minuses, if you do a cross-check of the positives and the negatives, I think we'll give him a resounding pass mark, right? So let us put that one aside. The second thing, I told you about three things. I mentioned just two: the heart with which, or the mindset with which the person goes, his quality in terms of competence, or what I call the brightest and the best. And the last one is character, right? There are people who have raised issues with certain utterances he may have made in those days, right? Yes, some of it may not have been in the best of appearance. Some of them may have been in some bad light. You understand? But you see, sometimes you may have to look at it and weigh it against the background, the circumstances, the setting, and which such utterances may have made. Right?
Okay, so we will get to talk about some of these details and nitty-gritties about the person in the course. So preliminary, at least you've been able to establish what you make of his candidature, what you make of him, and what you think should be the analysis that, or what you think may have been the analysis that led to his choice. But we will get into further details. I don't want you to go into all those details when we are now preliminary. Let me just welcome Professor in waiting and Doctor in person. So, Dr. Joshua Zato is here. Doc, a very good morning to you.
Thank you very much, Philip Fawcett. May your words become true.
Amen. Amen. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much.
So I know Nick Bakpo is joining us today via video link because he's out of the jurisdiction, but he loves Asase Radio so much that he still is making time to join us.
That's good. Nick.
Yes, so I will go to Ni and pick his preliminary thoughts, and then I'll come to you, Dr. Joshua. So, Nick Bakpo, so finally, we were here speculating about Napo's choice. Finally, he's been accepted as the running mate. I want to pick your immediate thoughts about the confirmation of Napo as it stands now.
Good morning to our wonderful listeners and viewers online. It's a very interesting choice. I think it's a very strategic choice. It's good to have a companion in a position. You know, when you are going into a position, you are going to step at ETS. You need somebody who will help you, who will console you, who will be your companion in the journey. And I think that Dr. Bawumia, having been itself for 8 years, knows the service that is required as right to the new leader. Now, taking that out, what are some of the factors I think that Dr. Bawumia took into account in selecting Napo? I think number one is the fact that Napo hails from the Ashanti region. That cannot be taken for granted. He obviously could not have taken somebody from the northern region. He himself hails from the northern side of the country. So clearly he had to go from the south. And Ashanti region in particular is the World Bank of the MPP. Napo is also a royal. And so I'm sure that the blessings of the palace will also have been put into account. It means that whenever the Pagara is going to Kumasi, he will be received very well, because in considering who should be his side, has actually taken into account the role of Asante. And also remember that once you have selected somebody to the high office of a running mate, it means that the Ashanti region is guaranteed a share of the national development. And so I'm sure part of the thinking is to be able to go to Ashanti region and say that, look, I have selected one of your own as my side. And so if you give me your vote, there's every guarantee that there will be massive development in the Ashanti region. And remember, if MPP is even able to garner at least, my estimate, 80 to 85% of the votes in the Ashanti region, they only need something marginal in the Eastern region to be able to secure the president. I've always said that the MPP's biggest problem is how they have not managed to make Ashanti region as a developmental project. Develop it to the point where they are guaranteed terrorism. If they are able to get into that thinking and are able to do the right things in terms of development in the Ashanti region, they are the only part, in my opinion, under the Fourth Republic, that can actually win each and every election in this country by virtue of two regions, that's the Ashanti region and the Eastern region. Because if you do the analysis, even in the last election, for the first time, the NDC won the Greater Accra region. It's the less than national election, which was never the scenario. Normally, if the presidential candidates want their greater salary in the way that we want that, right, we were automatically guaranteed the praise. But if you look at the analysis, the votes that come from the factories are able to nullify all the votes that the NDC is able to garner throughout the country. And so, if NAPU really works hard, you understand, and that's the key thing. Everybody already knows he works hard. But you see, his intra, and we'll come to his analysis of the first, but the friction between himself and Chema is something that they have to address. You see, some of these things you cannot address as a picture. You cannot come and give us pictures and, people will shake it. But you know in your heart that there's a problem. And the problem, I think, emanates from more of the perceived arrogance of NAPU. You see, he needs, and of course, we'll come to analyze the person, but he has very strong traits. Generally, people that are very strong are perceived to be what? In character, are perceived to be arrogant. It's cut across. Even as lawyers, if you are self-confident, you are deemed to be arrogant. The laid-back lawyer is deemed to be, this lawyer is confident. But the ones who have attitude, the ones who have swag, the ones who dress well, like my very good senior, Kwame Akufu, is my hero any day. When you see the swag in court, automatically everybody deems, and even sometimes he has problems with judges because the confidence level is, arrogant. And I think that is what NAPU suffers from. Because he has a very strong personality, it becomes difficult for anyone to see him being subservient. Anytime you see him subservient, everybody thinks that he's pretending, And I think some of the statements don't help, you see. So he has to be able to cure and work with Wontumi. You see, whenever he does, Wontumi is the chairman of the NPP National President. And you have to learn how to collaborate and respect the offices of other persons. You see, now you are going to ascend there, God willing, in about 8 years. Yes, I predict that this ticket will come to power in 8 years. And you can mark me down. I've said this many, many times, that this ticket will come to power after the NDC has done 8 years minimum. Or likely 4 years if all things are not going well. But this is a ticket that will come to power one day. You will have to learn how to work with people. You see, it is not always that you'll be at the top. But now he's not going to be at the top. When you're a minister, you are at the top. You take the final. He's not going to work under somebody. Look at the way Dr. Bawumia, despite all his economic prowess, you understand, was not the final thing when it comes to the economy of this country, even though he was chairman of the Economic Management Team. And you see how he has had to suffer to separate himself from some of the policies of the NPP economically. But there's one thing that everybody admires about Dr. Bawumia is unloyal service and loyalty to President Nana Akufo-Addo. No matter the circumstance, you've never heard in public Dr. Bawumia disagree with his boss publicly or has ever said anything, reported anything negative about it. That is a mark of a vice president. If you want to be a vice president, who will have the support of the president when it comes to your turn to stand? And I'm sure as vice president, NAPU will have the ambition to be president. He has to learn certain things about Dr. Bawumia. Number one is loyalty. Number two is humility. You understand? As vice president, you don't have a seat. You are a servant. And so all the pictures we've been trying to put out, all the kneeling down and everything, it is now going to be put to test. Will he be able to be a servant to his boss, or is he going to try and let it go? Because remember, a vice president has no voice. And that is one of the things you must learn quickly. That as vice president, he must quiet must be the shadow of the president. You don't talk when you have not been asked to talk. You don't go anywhere when you don't be asked to go. You understand? It's not about humility in name. You must learn the practical, I call it the practical sense of humility, where you are like a lap dog. You, excuse my language if I put it that way, but you only go where you are supposed to go. You sit where you are supposed to. You must, even when you think you have more sense than your boss, you must never even show it. Can he do that? That is the problem. And so for me, I think that the position will either magnify his humility, his lack of humility, his lack of being able to be second fiddle or play second fiddle to someone, or this elevation will be a learning curve for him. One, he has to learn how to work with and I'm going to do that something.
Okay.
Number two, he has to learn the rubrics of being a vice. And I think as we go on, we can say that.
Okay. So we'll get to talk about the kind of vice president that Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has been allowed to be by President Akufo-Addo, and what the example.
Let me correct that. Let me correct that.
Yes.
Let me correct that. It is not the vice president that Nana Akufo-Addo allowed Dr. Bawumia. Look, Dr. Bawumia has been an economic disaster. Yes. But when it comes to he has epitomized what a vice president should. Quiet, unassuming, calculated, and a servant vice president. If you want, and that is why, you see, the elevation of Dr. Bawumia from a non-member of the NPP to the position of a vice presidential candidate, to the position of a vice president, was all because of his loyalty to Nana Akufo-Addo. Nobody can convince me that he, Dr. Bawumia, would have gotten very good without the support of Nana Akufo-Addo. And why would Nana Akufo-Addo throw his political future with an unknown country? Because of his loyalty. So there's a lot that if you want to be vice president, and I wish somebody would write a book on how to be a vice president and follow the, if you want to be the Akar type of vice president, you have a problem. And that is why a lot of people think that if NAPO does not unlearn something and begin to become like the what do you call it, the party and its assets and the vice president who have served without money, then you have problems.
Well, I guess the office itself will help you to do that. Okay, so let me come to Dr. Joshua Zato, but to establish that we have Mr. Kwame Jantua also joining us this morning. Mr. Jantua, let's let listeners know that you are here. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, very well. It's good to see you. So, Doc, let me pick your thoughts on the last time.
Tell Uncle Jantua he's late.
I should tell Uncle Jantua that what? He's late.
He's not here, but he wants to talk. You are supposed to be here. Your seat is empty. Come.
Okay. So, Doc, we've been talking about the coming of NAPO. He's finally here. I want your thoughts ahead of he's now going to, as it were, join the campaign proper. We'll talk about what his campaign approach is going to have to be. But your preliminary thoughts about the ticket now, which is complete. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, presidential candidate, NAPO running mate. Your immediate thoughts and what the future looks like for this ticket.
Thank you very much, and good morning to your listeners. And I just came and I saw a senior vandal here, so okay. Good morning, senior V-mate. Sharp. Yeah, you know. And since, as I say, it's live on Sosala Radio in Tumu, my hometown, I want to say good morning to all my listeners in Tumu. Maniela Kalasene Madia Pana Jabunti and La Mecholma.
Yes.
Legend. Many also do a dwoko or Nala Nuzon or Rumpalakala.
I want to assure you that I understand. I want you to know that I understand everything you say.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. No, I just said good morning. And I tell you, when I heard they had a good rain the last time, it's not raining a lot up north. So when you are praying, pray for rains. Because
language that people don't understand.
What do people don't understand? I'm speaking to people who understand. People who understand. understand. They are listening and they understand. It's not people who don't understand. The people I'm talking to, they understand.
This is meant for a particular group of people, right?
Exactly. Listen, but now the rest is for all of us because it's not raining very well up north.
Okay.
And so we have to pray for the rains because we need the rains for our food. Okay. Yeah. So, Mr. Gentleman, presidential candidate. Next time you are praying,
presidential candidate.
Next time you are praying, pray for